was watching it. No, most of it.
Good looking good.
Huh? Oh. Aye. Is it on me?
Fair for 7 days.
When you got that,
Yeah, yes.
made for it.
That's
Sit around.
not good. It's on Sundays. It's going to be on this Sunday.
That's right.
So if you were in Worcester, you'd get it.
Oh my God.
They don't get
It's
enough.
been a long month.
No, it's on Armstrong Cave. I tried to work the
You ready?
I didn't want to.
I don't think anybody signed up.
And Armstrong said absolutely. Trying to break in.
It's too expensive. I had two choices. I either had to get that or it's the grass company. Was not going to be the same, you know. That's great. They just watch the analysis. It's like a PO. You get it. They said fire. You try to separate them. You come apart.
What's that? In the corner? Okay. Okay, well, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's over there in the corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. No one signed up under recognition of visitors, so we'll move on to roll call.
Terry? Here. Whittlesey?
Here.
Young?
Here.
Fletcher? Here. Jones? Here.
Meeting's called to order. President's report, just driving around, everything's starting to look ready for school, so a couple more weeks and yes. So, anyway, so I want to thank everyone that's here, and I know that custodians I've been up here a couple times and they've been stripping floors and waxing and hoping no one walks on them and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice to see a little bit of more activity in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, superintendent's report.
Sure. Just a couple updates here tonight. Back, I think it was at the June meeting, there was a question asked in regards to the social studies sequence and how many credits a student has to have in social studies to graduate. So a student needs 3 credits to graduate from here. And our sequencing does match up with what it should be for the Ohio graduation test. Checked around with other districts and then with guidance from the Ohio Department of Education, and it appears everything's good with the way we have the sequence.
Okay, so like the POD and the government isn't on the OGT?
That typically is a senior level class. So maybe the world history, U.S. history is more of what's focused on.
Is economics focused in any of those classes, or where is it? Because that was one of the ones that we were a little weak on.
Economics is scattered amongst those, plus we also do the financial literacy piece.
Okay.
Computer class.
Okay.
That started last year.
Okay. And then also you're gonna, did you talk to Cliff about putting something that if they don't pass certain parts of the OGT, they can take a class in the summer so that they're aware of it?
Yeah, he told me that they passed that information on to the students who were not successfully passed, where they can take those classes at. The one thing that they didn't give was the one location in Ravenna, and after they got that location, they gave that to the kids too. So, yeah, that'll be something that we'll continue.
But they will inform the kids.
Yes. I heard that everyone I've talked to, they did not get a paper. Now, that could be the kids didn't bring it home. I am fully aware that that happens, because that happens at my house. But everyone that I have talked to this summer about it said their kids did not bring something home. So I don't know if it's, the OGT test gets handed to them, or the results get handed to them, correct, to the kids?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it gets handed to them.
I know they get their scores. I don't know how they get it.
Okay. All right.
I'll find out.
Okay.
I know they have the reports, the family reports that go home. I don't know what those get handed to kids to do, or how that gets
I think that's how I
distributed.
got mine. Do you remember, Steve? I think that's how I got mine, because I found it like 2 weeks ago.
I have too many to keep track.
You have boys, the same thing. Boys don't do that kind of stuff, so. Anyway.
Thanks for looking into that, Amy.
Yeah.
That seems to come up every couple of years. It comes up how our sequencing fits into the social studies. It's always social studies. And I can't, I'm not sure why, but every, we look into it every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
For some reason, people have a misconception that our social studies sequencing doesn't match up with the test, but I mean,
Yeah, I looked at it, I was trying to remember which district. I
every year we found it, every time we looked at
Right.
it, we found it.
I mean, but is psychology and sociology, that's my big surprise, that that's even a history, has anything to do with history or social studies, because to me,
Yeah, that's
that's
typical, that's typically.
It is, but
Yeah.
there's not any other classes. That's why I was thinking, are there other classes that we could take one of those away and put something in that might help them in those subjects? But we are adding personal finance, so maybe that will help. Just that alone. And the computer. Maybe emphasize economics a little bit more in the computer class. So, I don't know. That's, not my job.
No, that's fine. We'll do that. Okay, the House Bill 264, I just wanted to give an update here. We reported on this a number of different times in the past, but just to where we currently stand here. Robert Howe at Chevron sent us our latest update. He says the preliminary energy savings report for May and June of 2012, months 4 and 5 of year 3, are attached to the cover letter which summarizes the report. The Waterloo School District currently has a 5-month total combined savings of $96,547, which exceeds the period's prorated guarantee of $57,703 by $38,844. Please note that during the first 5 months of the monitoring period, those were February through June, the school has increased its energy savings by $12,360 over last year's savings levels for this period. This continues to be very good. Staff should be congratulated for the high savings levels. Then in a more detailed report that he sent, he notes that for that 5-month period of time, our electricity usage has decreased 45% compared to the baseline, and our natural gas usage has decreased 55.1% compared to the baseline. So this House Bill 264 project that the board decided to do about 4 years ago or so continues to have a high return for the district. That was a great decision to do. And I thank, in particular, all of our employees for helping with the energy efficiency. Ryan Munger, head custodian, really oversees all of the controls and the settings and takes a look when we get indicators that something's out of whack to see what we need to do to adjust it back. So he's doing a fine job helping us monitor this. So wanted to report on that. Let you know.
Plus, in addition to that, they gave us a check last year for what, $40,000 in addition to our.
It was a little over 50,000.
Over 50. So, I mean, and so is it conceivable to say over this 5-month period, we saved $96,000? It's conceivable to say over the calendar year of 2012, we're probably going to save $200,000 a year. Plus, they gave us 50-something thousand last year because we had similar savings. Our savings were so great that they gave us a rebate, I guess they call it.
It was a rebate because of the project through First Energy.
I mean, that's a huge savings. That's a tremendous sum of money as far as savings over.
And would have
And
been
it's going to
afforded.
continue every year from here on out. So that's just, to me, that's tremendous. That's quite an accomplishment for everybody involved. So something we should really be proud of. We should be out there publicizing. It might even be nice to see that, something positive like that mentioned in the paper. Would be a nice change for us. So that would be very, very worthwhile, very, something that the energy of the school district has put a lot of energy and effort into, and is saving the taxpayers dollars.
And we haven't cut, I mean, it's not, we made it work, I mean, we made it better. Everything's running more efficiently, the lights are more efficient, the heating's more efficient, so it's not like we
Well,
cheapened it.
what makes it even more incredible, I guess, from just looking at it that month, that period of time. So about 2.5 of those months compared to last year's baseline are months that last year we did it on air conditioning, and this year we did, and we still have an increased savings during that time. So obviously the right things are happening, and people are very conscious and aware to help us in those efforts. So thank our employees for that, and thank the board for the foresight to do that project 4 years ago.
Absolutely. And just to add a little bit is that, you know, all these programs really rely upon those people that institute and control it and contribute. And I think the district administration and the teaching staff, as well as all the district employees have bought into this, and they've made the most out of the program, and I believe they're doing it in the best interest of the district, and it's their contributions that reflect the positive efforts that we've made through this program. So I wanted to personally say thank you to the district employees for taking the control to make this thing work, and as well as the administration for putting us in a position that we are doing the responsible thing with the taxpayers. So, appreciate it.
Grant committee update, I just wanted to let you know, we've had this grant committee now that's comprised of district employees and community members that came forward on their own with expertise in the area of grant writing through their professions. So we've been meeting since I think it's December this past year. And we just recently submitted to the Portage Foundation our first grant request that is titled Utilizing Technology to Enhance Teaching and Learning. It's for the amount of $15,273 for technology equipment for the middle and high school. We identified early on with the committee that we wanted to have an area of focus. We identified that, as I've shared before, as technology. We worked with our technology committee to come up with a list of priorities for what we wanted to go after for that grant committee. And we have a project, our overall project that we're trying to fund is about $110,000. This $15,000 is a piece of that. So there's components for the elementary school and other things district-wide that we're going to be applying to other foundations and organizations for. But the first one's in. And they meet, I think it's October 17th, to review their grant request, and we'll hear something after that time. In the meantime, that committee meets again next Wednesday. We're going to keep moving forward with submitting to these other places to see what we can do with the other pieces of the technology. But I want to thank the following people who have worked hard over the last 8 months to help get us to the point we're at. Beth Hoops, Dawn Peckman, Debbie Morgan, Diana Dubinsky, Pam Merck, Holly Moss, Shannon Bard, Steve Jones, Lisa Gunn, and Todd Carpenter. So thank you to the grant committee for all of their work in helping get us there. And I'll give you updates as we get them, but we're going to keep cranking these things out and see what we can do to bring in some money and funding to help us with our goals that are outlined in our strategic plan. Title 6B, redirection of funds. We've been notified by the ODE, we need to redirect 15% of our 6B money for special education to be used for early intervention services for non-disabled students. So you'll see tonight on, I think it's on the addendum items that Todd will talk about, you'll see that we're asking, requesting, recommending to hire 2 tutors to utilize that 15% money. Just want to clarify that that is federal money that has to be spent in a specific way for specific purposes. And tutors that you'll be asked to approve tonight fit that criteria. That's not money that's coming out of our general fund.
Would you say it was for non?
It's for that 15% is for non-disabled students
Okay.
that are having behavioral and academic struggles is what the money has to be focused on. That's by and large the gist of it.
So this is above the Title I tutors,
This is above the Title I tutors.
okay, so we'll have the Title I tutors, and then we'll also have a couple others in the buildings
Yes.
that will they, in the past, they've kind of worked with one person or
We're
one or
in
two
the
people. They're
process
going to kind
of-
of spread themselves a little bit more.
We're in the process of working out the details of that. I can tell you exactly what they're permitted to do. One second here. They're allowed to develop behavioral assessments and intervention plans for these students. They're allowed to provide intervention for academics, is provided that those students have behavior issues. They're permitted to work with general education teachers to develop behavior plans that are separate from the behavioral assessments and what they call BIPs, the behavior intervention plans that are formal. They're allowed to observe students in the general education classroom to provide insights to the teachers and document behaviors prior to and after interventions. And they're permitted to become part of the intervention assistance team to discuss general education students and provide interventions. They can have what they call incidental benefit. So for every 20 regular ed students that are served, 1 special education student can be served. So this money is primarily focused on early intervention strategies for students who are not identified. This will probably be a 1-year thing. That came about through some compliance reports with DODE and the federal government with what needs to be done, here. So they'll be
work with the
deciding.
students and the guidance counselors and the.
As long as they fall into that category. So we'll be meeting next week as an administrative team to determine how to utilize the services of the 2 tutors best across the K-12 spectrum. We'll see later on tonight the 2 tutors, and those 2 tutors are coming off of the recall list. If you recall, we had 6 Title I tutors last year that were given notice of suspension of contract for next year. And so 2 of them will be recalled to these positions. Other questions on that? Okay, the only other thing I wanted to mention, I don't have it listed here, we do have a Vikinggram that will be sent out to all community residents. That has been sent to the company that we're going to be using to take care of the printing and the mailing. And it tentatively is set to hopefully reach households next Friday, the 17th. In that Vikinggram, there'll be all kinds of detailed information about the beginning of the school year for families and other things that are of interest about the district. One note that I want to make, and people will see it in the Vikinggram, the open house for this year that takes place on Monday the 27th. We moved that start time up. It used to be 7 o'clock until 8:30 p.m. We're going to run it this year from 6:30 until 8. So all of that will be in, and every household in our district should receive the Vikinggram.
And are we going to stagger the sixth grade and the 9th grade?
I'll talk to the principals about that next week. Last year, they ran them at the same time.
Yeah, I've been in the position where I've had both, so it's kind of nice to stagger it a little bit, because I know several people have been in that position before, where we're running from one to the other.
The open house itself is 6:30 to 8. Those 2 right now, that Lisa's referring to, are tentatively scheduled for 6 o'clock. So I'll see what they can do, if they can possibly stagger it. We don't want to get too early, because then we're going to cut parents
No.
off.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we can do. I'll probably send out a letter now call to families about, reminding them about open house and the Vikinggram and everything towards the tail end of either the tail end of next week or the beginning of the
Do
following.
we have like a school calendar in there, or would they get that?
There's a
before
school
they
calendar, there's a school
Okay.
calendar.
Okay. On that, does it have the 2-hour delays in the
Yes.
school? Okay.
The 2-hour delay.
And then the waiver day?
The waiver day.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
That's all.
Thank you very much. Treasurer's report, Todd?
You saw the addendum, I believe, so under the consent agenda, superintendent's business, we need to add addendum items J through Q. We also need to remove Caitlin Dillon from the regular agenda, item E, under substitute teacher. On the addendum, she's being hired as a regular teacher. And then we also need to add executive session under A2 and C as listed.
Okay. Anybody got that? Diane, you board?
Yeah, I have the minutes from our last meeting, and actually, the last meeting at Maple was kind of special. They had recognized a lot of those students quite a bit. Everybody got the article about the valedictorians, and they recognized Andrea Knapp for several different scholarships that she received, and gave everybody copies of that. And other than that, just going over some different things about technology to bring more technology to work or to school, kind of what we're talking about here. And they're talking about different things that they can do to cut costs and spending is not that great. And that's really about all we talked about. It was a very short meeting. Summer meetings I find are not very long at all. We get into more detail when the school's in session. So I'll pass these out. And that's all I have on Nick Lloyd. Oh, I do have one other thing. They gave us each one of these calendars for the school year, and right inside the career center, it has like the mission statement, the table of contents, the whole entire student handbook is in here, the grades, and then the whole thing in the back is just like a calendar for everybody to give each student one of these. I thought this was kind of nice how they
Do we put that,
do their student handbook.
do we put the student handbook in there? You
No,
know,
our student handbooks get run separate.
would that
But I
be
can have
something
you
that
look
would
at
be?
that.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. I have a feeling it's probably going to be because of cost. But I can find out for sure. I mean, other places I think you tell me.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it has a lot of
They
information.
can't say I didn't know whenever they carried around with them every minute of the day. I'm sure the teachers would like that too. So, well, other than that. I think that's neat though. I mean, if we could, if it's not too.
Yeah, we'll take a look. My guess is that I think each of them principals have already priced that out. And I think that's why we do it the way we do. But I'll verify that for sure. See what the cost is.
Even if there was some way where we could print it maybe on half sheets paper and fold it, you know, that they could put it in something, like have a pocket in the back where they could put it in there, you know, or something. If we have to print it on regular paper to save money, you would actually save more if you printed it on half and folded it on paper, so just a thought. But when she showed me that, I thought that's kind of nice because you can't use that excuse for anything. It's all,
Sure.
the calendar's there, the mission statements, the rules, everything's inside there. So. All right, okay.
That's all I have to do.
All right, same, but, anything for legislative?
Yeah, a few things that are going on down in Columbus. They're starting to have hearings. What kind of made me chuckle a little bit is the House of Representatives Extended Subcommittee has begun hearings. So that's a fancy way of saying it'll be a while before you hear anything. They're going to be addressing two particular points, and that's funding equity and funding following the students. We also have some meetings going on. I think they're fairly over with, that were located throughout the state on the mid-biennium budget review. Reviewing of Senate Bill 316, the reading assessments, which is passed, as well as the House Bill 555, which is the bill that has the grading associated to the districts changing over to letter grades. So I'll be anxious to see what the results of those conversations are. We are also addressing pension reforms. One of the things that I thought was interesting was that Ohio is in better shape than most states in regards to their pension. And they've made possible recommendations to address shoring up those pension processes. Two priority bills. House Bill 191 addresses the minimum school year, switching from days to hours of instruction. And presently, it would prohibit instruction prior to Labor Day. And another bill is House Bill 136, which is parental choice and taxpayer savings scholarships. And it replaces a program that's already in place, the Educational Choice and Cleveland Scholarship Grant. But it does act that it's establishing a special education scholarship program. So, you know, it's nice to see things happening in Columbus. It takes a long time to get there. Sometimes it's frustrating just to follow it. But, you know, I did have the opportunity to meet with Kathleen Clyde, who is a representative for the higher education. She's on, I believe, the Ways and Means Subcommittee in Columbus. But we had a great conversation in Atwater, and I appreciate those that came out and took the opportunity to discuss some things, especially in regards to the schooling, education, and you know, one of the frustrations that I kind of relayed to her was that, you know, if we could at least get a consensus on what we agree on and move forward, it's better to have something than to drag things out for years at a time. It's the reality of Columbus and politics, but I guess I'm learning as I go to it. So it should be interesting. At least we see some things happening, and I'm looking for a good fall.
Did she, I missed that meeting, did she happen to mention, did it ever, I thought about this later, did they ever go to the Capitol Conference, any of our representatives?
I don't know the answer. I know that that didn't come up during where I was.
It did?
It did.
Oh, it did not.
It
No,
was
it did
just
not.
something that I thought that might be, whenever they come here and they hear what the community's saying, it'd be interesting to go and see what, you know, what they're
Yeah.
saying at the conference, because it might be a good way to hear, you know, another side of the story. More information is better, as I always say, so I was just curious if that was something. I don't think I've ever seen any of them there. You'd think that they're in Columbus, the convention's in Columbus, all they have to do is drive down the road, it would make
Maybe
sense.
we'll
that-
invite them.
Yeah,
See
that's
what
what I'm
happens.
thinking. I'm just thinking, that might be a good idea to see them.
I'll definitely reach out to her and let her know
Okay.
that it's out there, and we'd be more than happy to
Yeah,
maybe touch base with her.
yeah, listen to what's going on, and I would think they'd want to know what the state of the schools is. So.
There's lots of opinions there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there are. Was there a good turnout in that one?
Yeah, a few.
Yeah. What about Randolph?
I think it was about, I talked to Chad, it was about the same. It was probably about 10.
That's all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good discussion.
It was very informal, and she was very cordial, very open to our ideas, and really enjoyed our conversation, especially with the residents. So.
She's a very big advocate of public schools. She doesn't have to be convinced of the value of them, things that are happening that are detrimental to them.
That's nice.
Ken, have you seen any legislation moving towards changing the way the school year is made up. For instance, a lot of states around us, I know parts of New York, both Carolinas, parts of Michigan have gone to the school year where they're basically, they have a 9-week grading period, then they have 2 weeks off. 9-week grading period, 2 weeks off. And they're having, what the idea is, the whole principle behind it is, you know, the way it is now, a student goes to school for the whole year, and you know, you try to catch the ones that are having issues and remediate them somewhat during the course of the year, but basically you're trying to catch them up during the summer on a whole year sometimes of material. With the idea with that is that you go 9 weeks and then they have 2 weeks off. Well, during those 2 weeks off, you can take the kids that struggled that 9 weeks and you can remediate them over smaller subject areas, you know, smaller time frame. And then do the same thing after the second 9 weeks, after the third 9 weeks. And I think they end up with like 4 weeks off during summer. They have 2 or 3 weeks off in between each.
And I've seen that in other situations, and I see an advantage to it. It would just be a change of culture for us, and I think that's a high stepping stone there to try to change that culture. But I wouldn't say that it has bad points either, because those people tend to not get so far behind.
That's it. You can catch them up after the first grade period. It's easier than trying to catch them up after the whole year.
Yeah.
It was just, I travel around quite a bit, and it's amazing. I was with people from Michigan last week and people from New York this week, and both of them, a lot of the schools are more of that. I have a friend in the Carolinas, and they're in that kind of a program. And I'd heard about it back probably 15, 20 years ago. In Ohio, that was popular, and that kind of went away.
And I've heard it come up a number of times, you know, but it just seems to die out quickly for whatever reason. And I think primarily it's just because of the change in culture that people are so used to having a conventional school year and then those months off. And so.
They did it at Field, probably 20, 25 years ago. One of my sisters went through that. It lasted a year because, you know, babysitters, everybody's life.
There's a lot of logistics that would have to be worked out, but the
They did it
concept
one
to
year.
me seems like a decent concept. The number of school days are the same, it's just a matter of how you decide which number of school.
I like switching from the number of days to hours. There's a lot of schools that are going to four-day school weeks.
They have discussed that a lot more.
Yeah.
They discussed that, right? Andy? They were
That was the
talking
one
about
bill
that.
that kind of.
It's got
The
that.
the thing with that bill that's interesting is even though they switch from days to hours, they still require it to be a 5-day school week.
Mhm.
So there's no, you know, a lot of places that when they go, other states when they go to from days to hours, a lot of districts look at going 4 days a week as opposed to 5 to save costs on operations. But the way that Ohio's bill is designed here, wouldn't be possible.
That's right.
I see a lot of advantages, cost savings, transportation, cafeteria, all those kind of things. I see a lot of advantages, but there's also that critical point that you get into is, you know, you extend the day, let's say it's arbitrarily 2 hours a day. Can the kids learn 2 hours? It's kind of like working overtime. You know, can you work overtime 2 hours a day every, you know, it's just, you get into the law of decreasing returns. Even though you're spending the same number of hours, there's the quality of that time that you get in those 4 10-hour days as opposed to the 5 8-hour days.
There's pros and cons to it. It's just that they should at least give you the option.
I asked why they didn't, and just with the answer I got when I was down for a legislative meeting in Columbus, but I was told that it was because of the parent groups, that the parents were, what do they do with their kid on that day of school, when there's no school, kind of goes back to the discussion about family we were talking about. So that's what they said was the reason. Because it would seem to make sense to give that decision locally than we would make that choice.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. consent agenda, is there anything you wanted to review first, or we're good?
New business.
Oh, sorry, missed that,
It's okay.
because I have notes written underneath it, so I didn't see the words. Okay, new business. Anybody else have anything under new business? I had two things. Did Ken Riley give us last month a completion date for his project?
I talked to him after the meeting. He's moving on. It's kind of in stages. I think the first couple things that he's attempting to do here are to get this kiosk done. And he was going to get in touch with some people about that, I forget what he called it, that type of concrete that we can put in for stuff and doing the water. And get the kiosk moving. And then the other thing that I think he's going to get done here relatively quickly is the compost bins. And I guess there's a third. He's also working quickly on the row houses that he has to get those up in the back area. But some of the other things like that bridge that he talked about, that's probably a good year away.
So do you think those three things he's trying to get done before school starts?
I don't know. I don't know that there's a definitive date of when. Yeah, I just know that Ken goes after things very aggressively once he's getting the green light. So I would expect that those will get done in a very quick manner.
Is there a deadline on it?
No.
Okay.
Did you decide, was there any discussion of final resting spot for the compost pile?
Yeah, we are going to put one over in this area. Where would that be?
West.
Yeah, it'd
Strip
be
there.
straight, right on the other side of the high school here between us and the board office where the fence for the bus garage is in that green space there. They kind of, if you're in the building, that area that you look out from the hallway that goes down to the cafeteria. And then the rest of them are going to go behind the dumpsters, on the dumpster side of the fence in the bus area. You'll be able to see the back of them from the life lab area on the other side of the fence. They wanted one out there to have an educational component, so we decided to put one there and the rest behind. We're going to put multiple ones up.
If they're built right, you won't even know it was just a building.
Well, there was discussion of putting them right outside of the cafeteria and touring windows, and I did not.
Yeah, they
No.
won't be there, they'll be behind that fence area.
Okay, and then the other thing was, just a couple things. I mean, we always say that Athletic Boosters buys all our athletic uniforms, which is great. We're the only school around that has that. But they've been busy. We've got some new flags for the stadium. So if you go to soccer games or the track meet or football games, you'll see those up. A couple new signs. Lee's here tonight. He's been doing a lot of work on that kind of stuff. We have a new sign on the press box. We have, and we're going to have, Phil Hammer has donated something to cover the back of the ugly scoreboard. So, and then the boosters are going to put a sign on that. So we've got a lot of people that are helping out in the community, and it's just nice to see, because even though we're struggling every day with financial issues, we always have people stepping up, and it's nice that we can still look great amongst all the financial issues. So we have a wonderful booster club, so it's nice to have them. Anybody else have anything to do with this?
Just the building looks great, what I've seen. I think it's really nice. They've done a good job. They do a good job. Every year they do a fabulous job during the summer, getting ready for the new school year.
Tom was painting the numbers the other day, and Nicole came up to make sure he painted the right numbers. So they're all double
You just
checking
go around
it.
the schools, go into the schools, sporting events. We are so lucky.
We are.
So our schools are so clean compared to everybody else.
The custodians, I mean, they have a good time, but they really work hard. They really work hard. I mean, they're always, and they're willing at any minute to say, okay, you know, if you have something done, okay. You know, you never get a no, you never get a grumble, you never get anything from them. They're just wonderful. So it is. We're very, very blessed in that regard. So okay, consent agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to just go through on most of these items and just give you a brief description of what some of these are. It's not a On A, for the consent agenda, we've entered into an MOU with OPSI. Because of the cuts that we've done in hours and times, the contract was kind of silent on it, so we thought it'd be best to do an MOU collectively, the union and the administration, just to allow one time this year because of the drastic changes in hours for some bumping to occur, so the more senior aides in the paraprofessional department get a chance to retain a more number of hours. So we have that on here tonight for the MOU. B is another MOU with our Education Association. We've been working close to a year, 4 months or so on this whole digital academy that we started last year. And it was last year we kind of had some guidelines laid out that we had worked together on. And so we're formalizing that into an MOU now that we've gone through it for a year, and just how it operates, especially as it pertains to the teachers that are involved with the digital academy. C, we've done. Yeah, go ahead.
That's really turned out to be a great thing for our district, for keeping the kids in the district, and financially, that's really helped us a lot, the digital academy. And I think that's been pretty much, you were the guy that spearheaded that when you came in and said we need to work on that. And
None of us had a clue about
none of us
any
really,
of that, so
I
we'll
would
admit
congratulate
that.
you for getting that together and helping us. And so just another great thing that's going on. I mean, we can sit around and pick out one negative thing here or one negative thing there. There are so many overwhelming good things going on in the school system that people need to know about. And this is just another one of them. I mean, the kids are able to stay in our district, we're able to maintain the funding, they're able to get their education. It's really nice. So I think you did a nice job of getting it set up. And I remember lots of discussions on interviewing different academies and stuff like that. And it's really a great job.
I appreciate that, and for what it's worth, there's been a lot of Cliff Schmidt and Peggy Schaefer. They've really been involved in this on the guidance, and they're the ones that enroll the kids, work with the kids in select classes, the teachers that are involved. And Thor and the union have been very good with this. We wouldn't have been able to do this initiative without our union support. And so it's really been a team collective effort. I appreciate your compliment. I think it's a team thing. So I appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be able to continue to expand that. We're still trying to use it as a tool to bring a number of the students back to the district. I think there's a lot of benefit for them from the Waterloo diploma to being eligible for extracurricular activities that are really appealing compared to some of the other alternatives that they're choosing right now. So our big objective with it continues to be getting the word out and letting people know of the great opportunity that they have with it. So, the body mass index, the 2 years that this has been in existence in law, we have come to you for a recommendation to waive it as we're permitted to do, and do that again this year. Not that we have anything against the body mass index, but it's just another burden that's put on to employees here, and time and money that we don't have, that we don't need to do. Interestingly enough, I believe the legislature tried to eliminate this, and Governor Kasich vetoed that out and kept it in. So we just simply submitted, it's automatically approved. D, our policies. These came, 2 of them are new, and basically what 3.12 and 3.13 are is guidance for our employees on social media use and on texting with students. So we now have, if it's approved, we'll have guidance in place for teachers, for coaches on what to do and what not to do to keep themselves out of any kind of situation that can in any way, shape, or form appear to be improper. That texting has an agreement form where a parent signs off and allows the coach or teacher to be able to text their student. Absent that, the coach or teacher should not be doing it. So those will go into place. The internet and computer will acceptable use. We revised that through our technology committee this past year. Just about every revision, they were minor, just about every one that was done was just to kind of update the language and bring it more into line. It was, I think, 10 or 12-year-old policy, and things have changed since that was done. All of these were reviewed by our attorney and approved as are presented to you for adoption. E, I think, is pretty straightforward. I'll just note Fred Duvall there under the first supplemental. He is not going to coach. He strictly is going to be assisting the middle school coaches on the sideline during games. So he'll be getting FBI and BCI fingerprinting as we do with everybody. But we won't make him go through the coaching requirements that the others that are coaching day in and day out are doing. If anything changes where he's doing instruction, he'll go back and have to do that. The extended time is the same as it's been for those employees the last few years. F, we have a teacher I'm recommending, Joseph Draper. He will be taking the place of resignation that we had, Jill Jekyll. I believe you accepted that resignation last month. So that is a position that's needed here in the high school, that math spot. So Joe will be joining us. Joe taught last year in North Carolina and comes very highly recommended from the people that he worked with and his professors at, I think it was the University of Akron. He's from the area. He moved down there last year, and he and his wife moved back to be closer to family this year, so it'll be a great addition for us. G is the same as it's been, those amounts with the sub-calling. H, we have the handbooks to you. Bus routes, Fran did a great job getting these routes done for this upcoming year. And then on the addendum items, J, this is another person. Caitlin's actually here tonight. I want to take a moment to introduce you to her. Caitlin, if you want to stand for a moment. Caitlin's going to be taking the place in our English department at the high school for Sandy Adams, who resigned and moved, as you're well aware. Caitlin actually did her student teaching for us last year in the middle school with Chris Markhurst, and so we're excited to have her. She shined through the interview process. Her recommendations were well, and I think she'll be a great addition here. So, welcome, Caitlin.
Yes, welcome.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Southeast
Okay, how about college?
on the University of Akron.
We won't hold that pirate thing again.
Well, I appreciate it.
If they beat us again like that this year, we'll talk about that next year.
I might have to call in sick that day.
Item K on the consent agenda, the assistant band director, that's to assist with the marching band portion of what happens. As I shared before, Angela Atkins is not going to be doing that extra activity this year. Stephen Cacciolo will be helping us out. And he's from the area. They have kids here, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that he is the band director over in Broadview Heights Principal. So I was able to get him here to assist us.
So he's not going to be over there anymore. He's going to.
I'm not sure exactly what his role is over there,
okay.
but he's involved as a teacher with band over there. And he obviously must not be involved with the portion that would conflict with this.
Great.
And then Zach Williams is being recommended for the middle school football. This is the position that Nick Julio resigned from a couple meetings ago.
Who will that be our middle school coaches now?
Coaches will be Mr. Bolance and Zach Williams. And then Fred Duvall will be there on the sidelines during the games. L, we had some amending to a resolution that you previously passed. Raymond Leak was initially hired to be an assistant football coach, and he and Steve, our Brandon Blankenship, were going to be splitting that supplemental in half. Raymond's work schedule has changed. He's not going to be able to coach. So we're going to adjust Brandon to the 10% just pay by himself. That position will be split anymore. We're not going to have another coach there. And then previously you approved Greg Drugan as head cross-country coach because the numbers are low. We do have enough for a team, but because the numbers are low, We will not be hiring an assistant coach this year, so Greg approached and asked if we could split his supplemental 2/3 and 1/3 with Stephen McDaniel, who's done the assistant before. So those are just some amendments.
It's worth mentioning Brandon, graduate, fabulous kid. That's going to be nice to see him on the sidelines helping out. He's been there, he could be there whether he's training or not. But he's just a great kid, just fabulous.
Well, and what was it, his sophomore year or his junior year that he got injured?
You heard his neck.
Sophomore.
Good blank.
Sophomore year?
Yeah.
I think it was soft.
Yeah, he didn't play. He couldn't out.
He was on the sidelines junior and senior year just because he wanted to be there every practice, every game, everything. So he was there with it, and he wasn't officially on the team. So, I mean, just a great kid. Yeah. He lives close.
Yeah.
Close question.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's nice too. So that's good to mention.
Item M, Jessica's here with us tonight. Jessica, do you want to, I know everybody knows you, but you want to stand just for a moment. We're recommending Jessica for a limited one-year contract as a teacher. Jessica's going to be teaching special education here at the high school level. She's been with us, what, a year and a half now? Is a resource room tutor. So we're happy to have her joining. I know Nick Julia and Matt Montgomery interviewed quite a large number of people, and Jessica came through as the top candidate here for the high school. So certainly you'll do well. We're happy to have you on board full time.
Thank you. And she also graduated from
Yeah,
Waterloo.
and where did you graduate from, Jessica?
Ohio University, right, Jess?
Waterloo.
We know what you were looking for.
Item N is what I was talking about earlier. This is the redirect tutors. So Tiffany Eichler and Julie Bowles. Item O, I think pretty much speaks for itself. We've been trying to periodically, if we can, with the help of boosters and some others, clean out stuff that's taking up space here and bring to you for disposal. So P, we got a surprise resignation yesterday. This is Debbie Morgan, who's our gifted teacher and coordinator, has resigned, contingent upon her board approval, which I think the meeting is August 21st. But board approval for her new position as gifted coordinator academic consultant at the Geauga County Educational Service Center. So Debbie will be overseeing gifted for the entire county. There's 7 districts that are in that county, and then acting as a consultant for them also. I think she's been here 11 years. She came in yesterday and talked for a long while with me, and I think it's hard for her. I gave you a copy of her letter. I think it's hard for her to leave, but Debbie is one who continually moves herself forward in the area of her own professional development and education. She's got numerous, I don't even know how many, numerous degrees, numerous licenses. She just finished one that gives her the ability to be administrative and the degree with curriculum and gifted that she's had. So this is a great step for her. We hate to see her leave, but at the same time, what a great opportunity for her to step into. So thank her for her years here and wish her nothing but the best of luck.
And she also, on another note, she's always on the levy committee. She's on the grant committee. She's on, she'll do, we don't even have to ask. She's just there. She just shows up, so.
Correct me if I'm wrong, she was instrumental in setting up the dual credit with the college.
She was. She's been our point person for dual credit.
Which is another great thing we've added to the school district here in the last couple of years, where kids can actually stay in our school and take classes and receive college credit. So another great improvement that we've added.
Right.
She was instrumental.
And
with-
she was big into that.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Our credit flexibility plan, she was instrumental with.
She was also going to teach the ACT.
ACT prep course that we're going to be doing in the fall. We will figure out a way to make sure that continues, but that was Debbie's initiative that she was working on. So her leaving will be the big void for us in many ways. But congratulations to her. Well deserved. The last thing, this aid contract for Ernest Conan. We had a few positions that were left open after all this bumping occurred. Some that had a position chose not to return for a different position next year. And we had also had some different, we had consolidated hours and in doing so created a couple other positions within there that I had shared before. Ernest is going to be coming on board as an aide to work the recess during the day, hour and a half, and also to assist with some middle school study halls. I will note here, we made some changes, like I've mentioned, in reduced hours, and then we added a couple positions in that were needed to make our new schedules work because of all the reductions we did in personnel. But even when we did all of that, I think the total amount of hours that we're paying in the paraprofessional department is actually still lower than what we were doing last year, even with these additions, because of the reductions that were done. So that's what I have under the superintendent. Todd, anything on this?
Okay. And I have a motion to accept the consent agenda with the corrections noted by Todd Carpenter.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? I just want to welcome, again, our new teachers. I'm excited. Nice to have young blood here. Anyway, other than that, and Debbie, we wish her all the best. That sounds like a great opportunity for her, so it's exciting. Any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Whittlesey?
Yes.
Gump?
Yes.
Fletcher?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, do I have a motion to recess into executive session for A2 and C, which are employment and conferences with attorney for public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject or pending imminent court action.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? I'm already on the adjournment.
I'll say aye.
I'm already to adjournment. I got these two, you can pick whichever one. One first, one second, whatever. Roll call.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Whittlesey?
Yes.
Gump?
Yes,
Fletcher?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
motion passes.
And I don't expect there to
We
be
don't
any
expect any
on
action
return.
coming out of executive session.
We're going to go into the middle room here to start with at least, and the middle door.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a quick second? I just want to go over. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to confirm those numbers.
Yeah, 1 second.